Minnesota just lost Medicare funding, and I want to talk about it. A few days ago, the Trump administration announced that they were going to be pausing Medicare funding to Minnesota in response to the Somalian fraud scandal incident. Now, in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically a group of Somalians were creating businesses for government funding and they were getting it, even though those businesses didn't exist. And I think I saw a number that said that they were taking about like $300 million in total over like the course of years of them doing this. And this is the Trump administration trying to put pressure on Minnesota to do something about that. I'm your host, Seb, and if you enjoy this video, please leave a like, but let's go ahead and dive into it. So in total, $259 million of Medicare funding was cut from Minnesota. And I think this is really bad. Now, in case you guys are out there thinking, oh, the Somalians took $300 million over the course of many years, how could that be bad? You know, they're just going to take this 259. To that, I say that there's a really big but in the way. And I'm talking like bigger than a gym bro wearing spandex type of big. And that is the people that actually need it now don't have it. And what's hard about that is because you look at the numbers, right? But it's really hard to compare 300 million to 259 million when we're talking about 300 million over the course of years and 250 million over the course of now, you know? And the Somalians are just a handful of people. And yes, they're taking loads amount of money, but are we really going to risk having like millions of other people that aren't stealing that actually use the Medicare and are benefiting from it? And we're going to just take them out of it, out of the equation? Like they're not going to have any way to pay for health insurance right now. And if any of them get sick, they're going to have to pay for that out of their own pocket. And I think that's a horrible way for us to be operating in our society. What's even worse on top of that is how hostile the environment is in Minnesota right now, because we're having all of those ICE attacks where they're literally killing civilians out there. Bless you, Renee Good, and bless you, Alex Preddy. And we're probably gonna be more killings. And on top of that, there's a lot of people that are just getting harmed and hurt from it, not necessarily dying, but they're still getting injured for protesting and responding and standing up to these ICE agents out there. And so now some of these people that are trying to do the right thing, in my opinion, are now not going to be able to get that help that they need, especially if our federal agents are being trained incorrectly and being told to just violate people's rights. Now, I'm trying to keep it real with you guys, but I don't really believe that this is a Somalian issue, to be honest with you all, because we know how Minnesota has been protesting, as I just mentioned, but also their governor, Tim Walz, was the one who ran alongside Kamala Harris for the presidential election. And it really feels like they're doing this to punish Minnesota in response to them retaliating and trying to stand up to the Trump administration. And I think this is really pathetic because now they're hurting the lives of millions of people because they got their feelings hurt a little bit. And I just think that that's so ironic for the group of people that comment to others and call them snowflakes or say that they can't take a joke or that they're too weak in terms of like here. And now look at them. They're literally cutting funding from people that actually could use it. For what? And I can't stand behind the people that are going to comment on here and say that, well, the Somalians are taking so much more money, like it makes sense. Because if we just toss the argument aside of like, okay, you're hurting the greater good for just a few handful of people, what about all of those big companies that actually pay $0 in taxes at the end of their fiscal years because of all these loopholes and corporate bullshit that they do? And what about all the tax cuts that some of these big corporations are getting? Like, surely if we didn't give them tax cuts, surely if we paid more attention to how they're taxing, maybe we would be able to get a little bit more money out of them to make up for whatever the Somalians are taking from us. Because I'm telling you right now, all that 259 million isn't being taken in this one instant. Maybe they're taking 2 to 3, right? But that's still 255 that's still out there. And of course, that number could be wrong. Like it could be more, it could be less. I don't know. I don't know if there is a number out there. But it's just wrong. Like this approach is wrong. And this is also something that's unprecedented. Like no other administration has ever cut funding from a state for a reason like this. And it's just horrible. And I just don't see how any of this could be outside of them just trying to punish Minnesota for retaliating and standing up. Looking at the bigger picture outside of Minnesota, I know that this video is coming out after the Iranian attacks. And I just want to make a quick statement out there and say that I don't agree with it. And I don't think we should be going to war with Iran. We should not be going to war for Israel with Iran. And it's just a horrible climate that we're in right now. As many of you know that have watched this channel, I am not a fan of the Trump administration. I think that Trump in the past has passed some bills that were helpful to the American people. If it was his choice or not, I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and think that it was, just so I can feel a little bit better about him. But as a presidential figure, I don't think he's done a lot of good for us. And the fact that we're going to war is insane because the repercussions of it are never going to be felt by anybody who is in power. And what sucks on top of this is that people voted for him because they believed that he was going to end all wars and make peace with all nations forever. And that was never true. That was never going to be true. I don't know why people bought into it. But for the few of you that did buy into it and are starting to see that maybe he isn't all that you thought, it's okay. I think we just need to all stand together and know that there is still a world where we can make things turn around, where we can have better choices be done and representation of us. And I think we're in a scary time right now where we need to just stick with our neighbors and try to be good for one another. And attacking Minnesota at this time of global tension is just not the way we do it. Like, we need to stand together as one United States. And I think that that's what people really want deep down inside. But of course, the greater powers are always benefiting whenever we're at conflict with each other instead of seeing the true bigger picture, and that is electing people that have our best interests, not theirs. All that to say, I know that it's a scary time right now, but I still believe that there can be a better future tomorrow. And hopefully we can get there with minimal loss of life, minimal wars, and go back to just trying to be good neighbors to all of our countries, regardless of if we agree with their views or not, and try to make a better world. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.